fast car? Do you like a V8? A supercharged V8? Well, I know I do. So let's take you on a journey with Dale from Jaguar UK and his amazing Jaguar S-Type R. So Dale.
Yes.
Tom V. Dale 2.
Yep.
You moved on from your Merc to your Jaguar.
Yes.
So on this one, I think I remember the inspiration was the old racing car.
Exactly that.
Mark IIs.
Yeah, like the Merc, I wanted to touch on kind of a time period on my inspiration with regards to the styling, but also wanted to create something, you know, if Jaguar made a club sport, what would it look like? And I've always had a bit of a thing for ugly duckling cars, and the biggest ugly duckling in modern Jaguars is probably the S-Type. And here we are.
Here we are.
The Swan.
The Swan.
Yeah. So this is a supercharged V8, but they were always automatic. So the biggest thing for this car was to make it a club sport, it needed to be a manual. So we did a manual conversion on it, and then I worked with Swallows Racing to basically turn this Sunday driver into a Sunday track weapon. So we boosted all the power, like the performance upgrades. Everything about this is to take that luxury driving experience and make it more refined track experience.
And going back to that gearbox,
Yes.
is probably one of the defining mods in the car,
Yep.
if you like.
Yeah.
And I believe at the time it was the first one in the world. Is that what you
So
think?
yeah, it was the first drivable one in Europe. There's many that have tracked them, but there's none that are on the road driving, which I'm pretty proud of.
So as you said, a supercharged V8 that's
Yes.
already in there.
Yes.
What else have you done to it? I can see some absolutely gorgeous welds. here.
Yeah, so some well-formed from Swallows Racing, obviously the Pipercross air filter, a lot of internals as well, so it's racing injectors. Swallows Racing do their own kind of short and pulley for the supercharger, so it's had that, so the supercharger whine is magnificent on it. It's had a Maxx Racing ECU to obviously manage all those kind of changes we've made to make sure it runs well, but also can perform well for how we want it to. Ultimately, because we wanted it to look Jaguar, we didn't want to go too mad with how the engine bay looked. We wanted to look like it was something that Jaguar did from factory.
Okay, well, can we start it up and have a listen?
Yes.
So the sound of that car,
Yes.
it's
It's a thug in a suit.
yeah,
this
I'm
car.
gonna have to get one now.
Yes, they're incredible. Like I say, there's just nothing better than a V8 in my eyes.
Now we're inside the car
Yes.
and it's very race car-esque.
Yeah, so custom seats from Cobra. These have been made just for this project. So we did some red and green stitching within that and made sure the colours matched the kind of racing colours that we wanted to put through the car. We've had the steering wheel trimmed as well to match. Still wanted it to feel Jag in here.
Yeah.
That's why we've kept the wood grain dash, because when people are in it, it needs to feel like you're in a Jag and smell like you're in a Jag. But any kind of luxury that was in the car has been completely removed.
Yeah.
A lot of brands that worked on this car had never really done stuff for this car before.
No.
Especially like the Bilstein suspension that was made, the two-way adjustable suspension was made for this car. They'd never done that before, in the same way the guys that made the cage have never made a cage for an S-Type. There's not many people racing S-Types on the weekend.
No.
So there was a lot of learning curves with this car.
Let's talk about these wheels again. They don't look like you can buy them off the shelf.
No, and they are probably one of the biggest talking points with the car. People either love it or hate it or want to know where I got those steel wheels from.
Yep.
But these are three-piece custom-made wheels from Image in Birmingham. And when it comes to making a vintage, kind of paying homage to vintage style racing, what's a race car without Dunlop racing wheels?
And the suspension behind there,
Yes.
you said it's Bilstein.
So it's their two-way adjustable suspension.
Yeah.
There is a clip of me when they were explaining to me everything that's dynamically amazing about the suspension, and it was a mind-blowing experience.
And that's a coilover kit, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, fully adjustable two-way, just when you can adjust it from inside the boot or under the bonnet.
It's
The
like
little-
lovely
yeah, I've been
red
told not.
billet.
Yeah, don't touch it. Swallows Racing have set this up perfectly, and I've been told never to ever touch them, so I haven't, and it runs lovely.
Let's go quickly on to the styling cues of the car.
Yes.
It must obviously be British Racing Green.
Yeah, so it's a variant. I mean, when I looked into BRG, British Racing Green, there's 1,000,001
Yeah.
interpretations. But this is British Racing Green with a green pearl. Now you don't really see it in here, but when it's outside there's actually a green pearl in the paint because there's that many curves and lines on the car. Having a flat colour wouldn't do it justice. Giving the pearl gives the roundness a bit more sparkle, a bit more life to it. Biggest thing is the rear wings. They're actually front wings from an S-Type because on the front they're wider, but on the rear they're kind of flat. So we integrated front wings into the rear to give it a wider kind of stance to accommodate the wheel and tyre package, but also as a kind of like without bolting on a body kit.
And you've obviously had this...
Shaved the rear door handles to give it that coupe style. You can still open them. There's a little billet handle when you open the front door to show people the roll cage inside. But also little sacrificial things. So the S-Type R does come with a spoiler, but it ruined the lines of the bodywork. So we got rid of the spoiler, got rid of the sensors, painted the rear lights candy red, a period correct number plate from California to give it that kind of road outlaw kind of racing look.